From the Ear to There Travel Studio, this is the Ear to There Disney Podcast.
Welcome aboard the Ear to There Podcast, the podcast that'll help you vacation like a pro in any Disney destination. For those of you standing, please sit down and hold on throughout our journey and get ready to learn how to have the time of your life. And now, here's your host, Phil Gramlich.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ear to There Podcast. I am your host, Phil Gramlich, and I am also the owner and operator of Ear to There Travel, which is a Disney-specialized travel agency. It is my job to take away all of that stress and all of that anxiety and all of that time that it takes to plan a Disney trip so you can focus on the fun things like having a great time with your family and friends and enjoying the magic. And this should be a fun one right off the bat. You can tell that I have a cold. Of course I do. My voice is going to be in and out, but we're going to give it a go and see how it turns out. So anyway, I just want to let you know, like I let you know every week, that everything that I do to help you to plan a trip, from finding you the best possible resort price to booking your fast passes, your dining reservations, special event tickets, transportation, everything possible, I do at no extra cost to you. Actually, as a matter of fact, once in a while, I'm even able to get some of your money back because I can apply those deals, those discounts, even to an already booked reservation if your reservation qualifies. So kind of like the Dire Straits once said in the great decade of the 1980s, money for nothing, chicks for free. Although I'm not getting anyone chicks for free. All right. This is episode number 96, believe it or not, for the week of November 6th, 2017. Now, I'm going to grab my cough drops. You grab a drink, grab a snack, and as a famous mouse once said, on with the show. So this type of episode for the Ear to There Disney Podcast is backed by popular demand. We've done a few of these in the past. People tend to really enjoy them, and we tend to kind of help people decide where they want to stay. I sounded like Christopher Walken here a little bit. We help you decide where you're going to stay. We help you decide where you're going to stay on your Disney trip. So yes, this is going to be another Resort Roundup episode of the show. And this episode is going to focus on a resort roundup for one of my favorite, and I think one of the most underrated resorts in all of Walt Disney World. Yes, I am talking about Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. Here to talk all about why you should think about staying at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge on your next trip is a man who was once asked to leave the resort because he kept trying to feed the ostriches his kids' leftover Halloween candy. The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Johnny Shortsleeve. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks, man. And you know me, I hate waste. That's my thing. That's what makes me me. I hate waste. And you know, what I used to do is I go down to the orthodontist down the street and he'd buy back candy. I never knew what he did with it, if he's burning it or something, because you're going there, he gives you like $1 a pound or some nonsense. Then you push all these business cards, go get your teeth fixed. Like, no, I'm not down with that. So I knew that, them and the goats. The goats over there would just go nuts for Twix bars. So I would do that. But, evidently the culture representatives didn't agree with me. I don't know. Yeah, there's no sign that said anything about that.
Now, apparently the ostriches don't get a whole lot of Reese's Peanut Butter Cups in the wild.
Yeah, I was given the Milky Ways. That was the thing that they were really going for.
It's really funny is you remind me, I've been watching Stranger Things season 2, and he feeds one of the kids feeds one of the aliens. He thinks it's I don't know what he thinks it is, like a reptile, and he keeps it in his room and he feeds it. I think it's Three Musketeers bars. So I don't know why that was just a segue in a tangent where I did not need to happen.
But the funny thing about that show, I've only seen like 5 minutes of that, and I was under the impression that there's all these weird things laced into that show that have little subtle meanings or throwbacks or nods to things from the 80s. So I wonder if there's that's a reference to some show or some movie from the 80s that we don't get.
Yeah, that's what the whole show is. There's so many little 80s nods and references. It's a good show. It really is.
We should do like a thing where if a listener knows what the reference is, they should send you an email and give them like a couple $100 off. We'll do the shameless plug later. The shameless plug later. Yeah, that's at the end.
Did I just figure it out? Is it E.T.? Because over E.T., he feeds the alien Reese's Pieces. And in this, he's feeding the alien the Three Musketeers bar.
Oh, they probably didn't want to there's like a patent or copyright or trademark infringement to do Reese's Pieces.
So he went with Three Musketeers instead.
Yeah, they could get clearance on Three Musketeers. Couldn't get it cleared on Reese's Pieces.
Reese's is an excellent candy. There's a great Mitch Hedberg joke where he talked about, he's like, I like the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. He's like, but that name on the peanut butter cup, Reese apostrophe S, that's his, man. I didn't know that. He goes, so if some guy named Reese comes up, you better hand it over. He goes, oh, I'm sorry, Reese. I did not think I would ever run into you. He goes, you're a bully, man. And he goes, I would say, he's like, there was another line where he said, at least give me a piece or something like that. It's so funny. Anyway, thank you again, man, for coming on. I know you were on a couple weeks ago, but to be honest with you, with your schedule and how busy you've been, I want to get you on as much as I possibly can. So thanks for coming back on so soon.
Yeah, man. No, this is always a good time. I appreciate you letting me hang out with you and chat for a bit.
It is one of the fastest rising shows on iTunes. That's not true at all. I made that up, but it sounds good.
I saw something today. It's a 5-star podcast on Yelp right now, and
nice.
It's rising on Snapchat. It's like 24-hour thing, but I don't know. It's happening. So yeah, you're making it, man.
Maybe even trending on Twitter at some point. Well, I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't go over to Twitter that much these days. It's a lot of crazy stuff going on that.
Even hashtagging on Instagram, man.
Yeah, I do that stuff.
Yeah, but you have your own. I saw people are hashtagging this podcast.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it's blowing up.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, man.
You're en fuego, man.
En fuego. I haven't heard that in a while.
I'm bringing it back.
So, all right. So, Animal Kingdom Lodge, right? We've done a bunch of these resort roundups in the past. They do well. People really like these episodes. What's really funny is I put out a post today on Facebook asking people what shows that I haven't covered that they would like me to cover. And one of the first answers I got was do another resort roundup with Johnny Shortsleeve. So I was like, oh,
really?
Right. Yeah, seriously, right away.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
What the heck is Facebook?
That social media platform.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't mess around with that thing anymore.
Nah.
Well, that's great. I'm glad that people dig it.
Yeah, really. So you're going to hear me drinking water, throughout this episode because
water. That's right.
I have yes. With a little
I never heard fizzy water that sounds like a craft beer.
And it's not a craft beer. I've been trying to get my blood pressure back down for my health issues that I had, and so yeah, it's water. And I have this darn cold that my kids brought home from school, which is a lot of fun. And
wouldn't the beer help with the blood pressure to wind you down?
You would think it doesn't, though, because I was obviously having too many craft beers. It didn't help my blood pressure at all.
Oh well, I guess good thing I'm not a doctor.
Woo. All right, man.
A lot of sick people out there.
Yeah. Or a lot of people having a good time. Really. It's what's wrong as long as you're not driving. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, have eat, drink, and be merry.
Because tomorrow we'll die. Dave Matthews.
That's what Dave Matthews says.
Exactly. Oh man, we start quoting Dave Matthews. We'll be here all night. All right, let's get into the darn topic of the show. So, what's funny is I was thinking about this when we decided to do Animal Kingdom Lodge. I was thinking about, I'm not going to give it away, but a place popped into my mind from when you and I hung out there in May after we did the Pandora pass holder preview. And I had never been there before, and we went, and it was a really cool one. And what's funny is I don't think that even made my list, but I might have made yours. So if you don't mention it, I will mention it at the end. But
Yeah, you know me, man, doing like this mental voodoo. I'm trying to figure out what you're
I
going to
know.
choose,
I
and I'm trying to
know.
be like strategic here. So I have a feeling we're going to, some of our honorable mentions are going to be like home runs
Yeah,
that we
they're the
try to
main
not.
reasons that you go to the darn resort in the first place.
People are going to listen and say, that's an honorable mention? These guys are idiots.
Yeah, it's like going to it's like Magic Kingdom, and the honorable mention is Space Mountain. Like,
Yeah.
wow, it's honorable mention for the best attraction. Anyway, all right, man. So what we try to do with these episodes is give the listener, maybe someone who hasn't gotten a chance to stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge, giving them some reasons why they should stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge. I think I've heard nothing but positive feedback from the other ones. I'm trying to think what we did in the past. We did Port Orleans, we did Wilderness Lodge, we did Polynesian, and I think Yacht and Beach Club are the ones we've done in the past.
We did the Super 8 on 192.
Yeah, that one that's only if it's deleted episode, and you have to be a member of the Ear to There Podcast Nation.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's like a $220 yearly fee where you get all the secret deleted episodes.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is, everybody.
That's a little shot at a friend of ours. I don't know. I know he doesn't listen, so he's not going to hear it anyway. But
You know he does.
but I want to hear. I want to see if he gets back to me on that one. Anyway, all right, man. So why don't you start? Since you're the guest, and people like to hear from you more anyway. Why don't you start with your? This isn't like really a top 10, right? It's just we give reasons why we think it's a cool place to stay. So you get it started.
Yeah, so the first thing that comes to mind for this is something that I've heard people actually complain about for Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. It's the remote location, where it is on property. In terms of, if you look at a map of Walt Disney World and the property as a whole, the Animal Kingdom Lodge is kind of like on the southeast corner of the property, like really literally on the corner of the property. And people say, well, it's so far from Magic Kingdom and Epcot, and it takes, got a bus everywhere and this and that. Honestly, that to me is a major plus because, look, I am a huge fan of the other resort hotels. There isn't one on property that I would say I don't dig. They all have their benefits. But let's say, for example, if you look at the Epcot resorts, like, Yacht Club, Beach Club, Boardwalk, Swan and Dolphin, that whole corridor right there. Those are all fantastic properties. They're just beautiful properties, lots of fun things to do. But there's a lot of rooms that are jammed in that little corridor. So what happens when you have a lot of rooms is you have a lot of guests and there's a lot of hustle and bustle and activity. Again, not a problem. It doesn't bother me in the slightest when I've stayed there. But the thing that's different when you compare and contrast with something like Animal Kingdom Lodge is that it is a remote location and you don't have that hustle and bustle. So it's a lot more quiet and calm over there in that little corner of the property. So yeah, it might take you a little while longer to ride a bus or a minivan or an Uber or, as I call it, a goober and get where you need to go. But to me, when you're on vacation, you want to have some downtime. And I think that's always something that you and I have talked about a lot, is to say that should be something that should be baked into your schedule when you go to Walt Disney World, is downtime, so that you can enjoy time with your family. You can rest, you can relax, you can kind of unwind from going through the theme parks and doing all those things. And that's a great way to do it, is just to have some quiet time. And there's a lot of opportunity to do that at Animal Kingdom Lodge because it is a remote location. So I know somebody's probably going to, Gronk spike their phone when they hear that. Shout out to Safety Dave. How you doing, my man? And to Frank, too. I know Frank's a big Safety Dave fan. How you doing, buddy? And so that, to me, should be one of the things that I think people keep in mind as being something that should be a factor in determining where you want to stay. And, if you are somebody who kind of digs the energy of being around a lot of people, maybe Yacht Club, Beach Club, or even like the monorail resorts. There's a lot of action because there's a lot of rooms and a lot of guests right through there. Great themed resorts. But if you're looking for something a little more remote and quiet so you can retreat from all of that hustle and bustle of the theme parks, I can't think of a lot much better than Animal Kingdom Lodge.
I was thinking about this, and it's funny that you brought it up for your first one because I have a little bit of an element of that in one of mine. So that's what I'll make my first one. I'll change my order around. But yeah, dude, I totally agree with you because I don't mind the extra ride on the bus. I'm not driving, so what do I care? You know what I mean? Like I. By the way, this reminded me of Home Alone 2 when he's in New York, Kevin McAllister, and the guy comes up to his room, the room service guy, and he goes, 1 scoop or 2 of ice cream, and Kevin goes, make it 2. I'm not driving.
I was trying, when you said it, I was like, where do I know that reference from? I was like, oh yeah, Home Alone 2. That's so funny.
It's almost time to start watching that movie. We're getting there.
Yeah.
Getting to the holidays.
We're getting there.
But yeah, my kids already been listening to Christmas music and I know you are a huge Christmas music guy. So yeah, you're living that life, all year round.
I'm all about that life, man.
Yeah, all about the Christmas life. But yeah, I don't mind it at all. I have noticed staying there, and I stayed there just a few months ago by myself, which was, again, it's very quiet. I get a little stir crazy in the room by myself, so I usually just don't stay in a room very much. But I really enjoy how quiet it is. You're right, and I couldn't tell if that was because of the animals and because what was going on over there, or if, like you said, it's not a jam-packed kind of place. And I think you're right. I think it's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and I think there are some other resorts that I think have that same characteristic. We've talked a lot about the Wilderness Lodge. That's one of those properties that is the same thing. But yeah, so I think there's not a lot of people who, when they're planning their vacations, think about that in terms of being an essential element or something that you need to look for in what you're doing. Because really, if you kind of get overwhelmed with thinking about 4 theme parks, 2 water parks, Disney Springs, and all the kind of activities like golf and other things you can be doing, there's just so much to do at Walt Disney World. It's overwhelming. But you have to just come to peace with the fact that you're not going to be able to do it all. And if you try, you're going to burn out.
And you're not going to want to come back.
Yeah.
You might think that if you try to do it all, you're going to have this great time. But I think it'll be the opposite. I think you're right. I think you're going to burn out. You're going to be like, well, that was too much for us. We're not going to do that trip again. And I've had people who have come to me who have said, we did a commando trip our last time and we were exhausted and, fix it for us. Like, help us slow it down and have a better trip. So yeah, I think it is a great place to kind of go and not be, like you were saying, the hustle and bustle, not be affected by all that. And again, we'll get to other reasons. I keep almost catching myself, give my other reasons for this one.
You're so excited, man. You just want to share it all.
Yeah, and I'm trying not to cough. Hold on. I want to have to go back to my water. Hold on 1 second.
Quote unquote water.
I'm trying not to edit this as much as I can.
I thought I heard like the release of a top of a beer bottle just now, like a tsh, like the little gas.
Listen, no one's gonna know because it's all audio. We're not videotaping anything.
Well, and you have that like fancy pants studio with like floor to ceiling, the insulation. So even if the top of the bottle falls, it doesn't hit like a hard floor. You don't hear it. It just kind of just softly lands on that foam core.
That's so I could hide all my vices from my wife while she's sleeping upstairs.
Yeah.
Not really. Okay.
Drinking beer and recording podcasts.
It's my 2 vices. So all right. So my first one is kind of, it doesn't really tie in, but I had some things that kind of tied into what you were saying. So one of my main reasons I really like this resort for people is it's a deluxe resort. It's considered a deluxe, but the price is lower than one of the ones on a monorail line or one of the resorts in Epcot. Like we said about Wilderness Lodge again, I think these resorts, those 2 resorts are really comparable. Beside the fact that they both have lodge in the name, the 2 lodges are kind of like starter deluxe resorts, right? They're not as expensive in general as the other deluxes are. So they're not contemporary prices or Polynesian prices in general. I think some of that is because of the location. Like you said, like you have to bus it everywhere. There's not the convenience of walking to Epcot or Hollywood Studios. You can't even walk to Animal Kingdom, where it's like a football store away from it. So I don't think you can anyway, not legally. But it has that going for it, and it's not on a monorail line, and it's not at Epcot. And it's not like, what's really super close to it is, I think, Blizzard Beach and Animal Kingdom theme park are the two closest things to it. So they can charge a lesser price per night, unless, of course, you're staying in the Savannah View room. That's a little on the pricey side. But I really like it because of that, because the price is lower and you can get all of that deluxe resort kind of feel and experience and the amenities and all that stuff for a lower price. It really makes sense if, you've been to all the moderates and you want to try something new, but you don't have the money to stay at the Grand Floridian or Polynesian. It's a nice kind of compromise. And it's a beautiful resort. Like, it is. It's unbelievable looking, and you're not going to feel like slighted by any means staying there. So to me, I think the price is right. It's a little lower. So I think that's a really, really nice perk of staying there.
And to add on to what you just said in terms of it being visually stunning, most guests will go there during the daytime hours if they are to just visit and just walk around. And it's beautiful. It's an absolutely beautiful resort. But nighttime, it's really cool at nighttime, like how everything's lit and just the way everything is presented. I don't know. I don't remember ever really seeing a lot of photos like that Disney's done like for PR purposes or whatever of the property at night. But it's awesome at night.
Yeah, you're right. And I wonder why that is. I'll get to one of my other reasons is something at night there, but one of my other points to make later. But yeah, you're right. I don't see a ton of the one PR, the few PR shots at night that I've seen of are the Christmas trees, because they really, oh man, I don't want to take it if that's one of yours, is it?
No, because see, you kind of know how my brain works, because that's what I did on Wilderness Lodge.
Right.
And
okay.
I thought, he's going to sniff me out. He's going to think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to change it up here.
No, because they do a great job with the trees in both the Kidani lobby and the Jumbo House lobby. They're both beautiful lobbies, really, really super well done. The decoration and everything is just unbelievable. And the Christmas trees really, I mean, that's where I've seen those nighttime shots where the lobby is dark and the tree is lit up, and they're phenomenal. All the resorts are great around Christmas, but this one they do just an awesome job. A really awesome job. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, man. So, alrighty, what do you got? You're up.
All right, I'm going to throw you a curveball, man. I don't think you would have guessed me throwing this one out here. The second thing I thought about was. And I don't hear people talking about this. So this is groundbreaking, everybody. Go ahead and just get prepared. I'm going to really blow your minds with this.
Can you sing Be Prepared by Scar?
Be prepared.
Well done. I didn't think you would go for it.
That
was exciting.
Yeah, no, it was thrilling for me too. I'm glad. I like to think of Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge as like a mini art museum. Did you think I was going to say that?
I did not. No, sorry.
Good.
I have my mic on mute. No,
yeah.
But now
swigging beer again.
But now I know exactly where you're going, because I agree with you. But go ahead.
But here's the thing that I heard was, again, I heard this. This is from someone who I think is trustworthy. I heard that this resort hotel has the second largest collection of artwork in a hotel in terms of like. If you were to take a look at all the hotels in the world and count their collection of artwork, that this is the second largest in terms of artwork collections. I believe it 100% because literally there's not a place you can walk inside that property and not see some kind of artwork hanging on the walls or displayed in cases or, big, large, grand pieces of artwork. It's really amazing what they've compiled there. And, just the diversity of the artwork that's there. And, I'm down with ART, you know me. I'm like, I'm a regular classy Freddie Blassie. I mean, that's the way it is, double pinky ring kind of guy.
Dude, I think it's 2 episodes in a row where we did wrestling references.
Maybe we should keep it going, man. Keep the streak alive. See how deep we can go into WWF history here.
Man. We had Ric Flair. It was all the woos last
Oh
time.
Yeah, man. He's a son of a gun, that guy. Ric Flair. So I like to just meander around the property whenever I can, just to stop and look at the artwork. And it's something that kind of bums me out at the same time, because, again, back to the first thing we talked about, I see so many guests when they arrive at Walt Disney World. It is like the commando kind of thing. They're just trying to check in as quickly as they can, go to their room as quickly as they can, unpack, and go to a theme park. And look, if that's what makes you happy, I'm totally cool for it. I could care less if you like the things that I like, or vice versa, don't like, whatever. As long as you're happy, I'm cool. But the thing that kind of bums me out is that in doing that rushing activity and kind of blowing through the hotel and not really taking the time to just stop and look around, you're missing a lot of cool opportunities to just take in some really neat things that you may not have ever seen before, maybe, and you'll never will see again. So the artwork is really impressive, and it's something that, if you're a guest at the hotel, then I would highly recommend just taking a couple hours to just slowly take your time and walk through and soak it all in. But also, that would be one definite thing that I would recommend as being something to keep on your agenda if you're just going to go and visit the property just on an afternoon, just to walk around. The savanna is cool, but also make some time to go check out some artwork while you're there.
Yeah, I didn't know that fact about the artwork there, but it makes sense. Like you said, there's not even a hallway in, like, when you go to your room, there are hallways, and they have original artwork throughout, like next to the elevators and in the corridors, and it's literally everywhere. And next to it all, next to each piece, is like a tiny little plaque that has the artist's name and it explains what it is, and really, really cool. Even like the stuff that you wouldn't think is artwork is, like the chandeliers when you walk into the lobbies are just huge works of art. They're incredible. Yeah. And it's all African, like official, original, done by African artisans. And it's really, really cool. And it didn't make my list. And honestly, I didn't expect the art angle coming from, this is going to sound horrible.
Hey, what are you trying to say? Wait, I mean, should I be offended by that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we're talking about the guy who goes water skiing with his grandmother on Bay Lake. So no, I think
I never did that. She did that by herself. But here's the this is something that I think is a really like a tip of the cap to Disney and the Imagineers, is that, if you look at other hotels, and I'm not trying to knock anyone that's not Disney. This is not meant to be an offensive thing. It's not meaning to sound elitist or anything like that. But if you think about like really good hotels that you've been in, it's just a place to stay. It's a place to just kind of, you're visiting in town, vacation, business, whatever. It's a place to stay. It's nice. They're decorated nice. They have artwork. Yeah, they have cool decor. That's kind of stuff. But there's a story being told at these hotels at Walt Disney World, and part of that story in here is just a pure cultural immersion, and through artwork is something that is a very important part of the show that they're putting on there. And to me, it's kind of interesting / sad that it isn't something that's discussed more in terms of the collection of art that they have there. It really is impressive.
You're right. And you're right. And it's something that we talk about on the show. We've talked about it a lot, is that everything has a story. Every single thing is there for a reason. And all that art is in those lobbies and in the hallways and all for a reason. You're right. And it's not discussed, and it's very, very cool. And I wish I knew more about art so I could sound intelligent.
Like me,
But I don't. Yeah, I wish I did. I think I took one art class in college, and it was required. It was like I had to require it was a class that I had to take. So
I didn't take any class. I was born with a monocle.
To inspect diamonds, or what were you doing?
Just I was highbrow from day one.
No,
man.
like you're like the Monopoly guy. What's his name? Moneybags, something Moneybags.
Top Hat McGee. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
Something like that.
All right, man. All right, so I'm going to go to the obvious one for my next one because I feel like if I don't, we might not, and it would be really silly. So obviously one of the main draws of staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge are the animals, right? It's as close to staying in like a hotel at Jurassic Park as you can get. Like it really is. I know they're not dinosaurs, they're animals. But you see a giraffe in like a zoo, in your local zoo, or you see a giraffe at, on Kilimanjaro Safari. How often do you get to sit in your room and see a giraffe, or sit at a restaurant and have a giraffe, 10 feet from you? It's so like there are 3 different savannas. I didn't write the names down, so I don't know them off the top of my head. But there are different animals on the different savannas. From what I understand, giraffes must get along with every animal in the world because they're on all 3 savannas. Then there's other animals like zebras, ostriches, wildebeest, impalas, I don't know, bongos, kudu, Thompson's gazelles, or Tommies, as they're called or used to be called on Kilimanjaro safaris. And there are places all over both resorts, right? All over. We should have said this before, and I don't think I mentioned it. I did say that there's Jambo House and there's Kidani Village, but Kidani Village is more of the DVC version of Animal Kingdom Lodge, and then Jambo House is more of the where regular guests stay who aren't DVC members. But both sections of the resort have amazing viewing areas to go see them, right? Like there's like these little outdoor, like kind of, porches where you can go, and there's game spotting guides that you can check out and watch the animals walk by. Just staying there and having the opportunity to see them in like almost a natural habitat. I know it's a theme park. I know it's a resort hotel, but being able to see them, excuse me, in somewhat of a natural habitat is really, really, really cool. And again, like where else can you stay? I don't know anywhere else where you can stay and see animals, any time of the day or night. It's pretty awesome. And it just, there's a comedian, Jim Gaffigan, who talks about staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge. It's in his set. It's one of his sets. And he says, I stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge. He's like, there's animals right outside your hotel room or outside the hotel. He's like, every day you're like, oh, there's a giraffe, there's a zebra. And then he goes, by like 3 or 4 days though, you're like kind of bored with it. He goes, you're like, hey, why don't we have a lion eating a zebra at Disney? That would be fun. But it is like, again, there's nowhere else in the world that I've seen, unless you're going on a real safari or a real, game, like, reserve in Africa, that you're going to see these animals up close on an everyday basis. So for me, that obviously the animals are a big reason why I would stay there.
Well, you can go down to the Super 8 on 192.
Yeah,
I mean, you got the swamp apes and the chupacabras and the Thin Man,
The Thin Man. No, we've talked about the chupacabras and the swamp apes. I don't remember the Thin Man being talked about on the episode. I'll have to go back and listen again.
Only at nighttime.
And right. And again, it's a super secret You're There Nation episode. So just shoot me an email if you want to become a part of that. And I don't want to get
email.
I'm going to get people mad. I'm only kidding. Anyway, so the animals, again, one of my number one reasons for staying at the resort.
I like it, man. And you know why I like it? Because it's a really good point. But it's funny. I'm laughing because it's funny to me how close our brains are synced up with some of this stuff, because it really went nicely into the one that I thought of as my next idea, which was, I really love that there are so many nice areas where you can just sit, relax, hang out, and just get a nice view over the savannas. I heard this. I don't know if this is the right number. It's like 45 acres is what the savanna area stretches out across. It's three
separate 11 or 12 acre savanna. So yeah, you're pretty much right. We're pretty close.
Okay, so yeah, somewhere around that. And so, which is nice because even if you're not staying in a Jim Gaffigan room where you can watch the stuff that he was watching, you can still find a lot of spots around the resort where you can just sit down and relax. So, you can use this resort as a place where you can, just if you're gonna rest your head and have a nice bed and go and do your thing. But if to save a couple bucks to get the experience of staying there, it doesn't mean that you're never going to see the animals, because you can go hang out and relax in some of your quiet time and do that. Like what's the on the lobby on the second floor? Is it called Arusha Rock? Is that what the name of it is? I could be totally botching the name of that. Again, you think I'd do my homework before we do one of these things.
I don't know the answer to this one either.
Really? Okay, good. I don't feel too bad then.
So we'll go with that.
Yeah, we'll go with that. If it's not called that, we'll just say it is.
Yeah, nobody's going to know. Who's going to look that up?
Yeah, come on. I mean, no one fact checks this podcast.
Right now, somebody just stopped at a red light. They're like, I'm looking that up. They don't know what they're talking about.
It's probably Safety Dave. He's going to do that.
You're getting an email this week.
So there's that overlook in the main lobby. Is that called Sunset Overlook up there?
I think that's actually right.
Really?
Yeah, I think you're right on that one.
Good gravy. I finally got something right. And then was it the Uzima? Is that the name of the other side, like on the far?
That's one of the three savannas.
Yeah, okay, because then they have like the Uzima pool over there. Was it Uzima Springs Pool? Is that the name of it?
Yeah, so there's the three savannas. I just looked it up. There's the Uzima Savannah, the Arusha Savannah, and the Sunset Savannah. So I think we were right on all three of those.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you got it. You were 3 for 3.
We literally should shut this podcast down right now, because it's not going to get any better. There's no way I can make it any better.
Good night, everybody.
See ya. So there's a lot of little areas right through there that you can hang out. And even so, like if you're looking at a map of the property, like an overhead map, like I'm trying to think of, like in my brain what it looks like. Actually, if I was smart, I'd pull it up right now and look. But it's like, isn't like Kidani Village like a backwards 3, and then like the Jumbo House is like a U. Is that the way they're shaped? And then
I think, yeah. I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Well, but and like in those bends and curves, they have like little like corridors, like little like there's like little seating areas and a bunch of the like the connectors between the little chunks of the buildings. So like you can go walk out, and I don't know, like it's not like most of them are kind of like the main floor. I don't know. Don't quote me on any of this stuff. I'm a big idiot. But there's a lot of little seating areas right through there as those little buildings connect into the overall cluster. And cool artwork there too in those seating areas. But you can walk through there and just grab a seat and just hang out and just watch over the savannah from those little seating areas that are stretched all through the buildings on both sides. So that's a nice little way to it. And the thing I like about that is it kind of forces you to say, I'm going to devote, I don't know, half hour just to sit down and have some quiet time and relax and just watch over the savannah and just enjoy the animals. If you're in your room doing that, you can totally do it sitting from your balcony. That's an amazing luxury to do it. But again, if you're traveling on a budget, but you want that experience, that could be a great way to do it. And you're giving yourself the opportunity to do it. And then plus it's more deliberate in terms of saying I'm spending the time, as opposed to in the room, like, while I'm here, I'll go ahead and, I'll do a little surfing on the TV, or I'll go do some work on my computer that I brought with me, or whatever. But so, I like hanging out in those little areas too. Those are nice.
And again, it's really cool if you're, like you said, like if you're visiting and you're not actually staying there. You can spend, it's a zoo basically, right? I mean, it's better than the zoo you probably have in your hometown. You can go and just sit for free and watch these animals just kind of wandering by, and it's really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, definitely way better than the animals you're going to see on Super 8 192.
I apologize. I had to hit mute again because I was coughing. I will get through this episode, I promise. But yes, the Super 8 animals, though, you get the giant possums and the little raccoons. There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on over there.
Yeah, the 4-toed sloths, man, those are crazy.
They're a lot faster than the 3-toed. You would never think. They shouldn't even call them sloths. They move really, really, really quickly.
But they're jerks. They're real jerks.
Anyway, what's funny is when I worked at Animal Kingdom, there was a trash can, another aside, and I'm not going to tell people where this trash can was in Africa and Animal Kingdom. But
as you're narrowing it down in Africa and Animal Kingdom on the Maharaja Jungle Track.
But there was always mice in this trash can every time I emptied it. And I told my manager about it, who told the pest control in Animal Kingdom about it, and they couldn't get rid of them. And I would have to empty that trash can twice a day with guests around. And what happens when you open a trash can when there's they run. So every day I'd walk up and make as much noise as I could. But you're in the middle of a theme park and it's loud and they're still not running. So you know they're not going to be afraid of you. So I would have to drag the can out and then they would run. There'd be like 3 mice that would run. And every day guests would scream their faces off. And what was that? I was like, so I came up with a line. Get this. They would yell and it would be like they were mice. And I said, yes, here at Disney's Animal Kingdom, we love all animals. So there's nothing we can do about the mice in the trash can. I just made up this line and people would buy it. Anyway, that's ridiculous.
He's a poor little kid. Hey, mommy, why is that guy over there kicking the trash can before he empties it?
That's exactly right. That's exactly what I did.
And why does he have his pants duct tape around his ankles so it doesn't run up his pants?
And I'm a fraidy cat. I will admit right now to, I don't know how many people listen to this show, but it's a lot, that I am not one that's going to mess around with mice. Nope. They freak me out.
I don't dig them either.
No, they creep me out. I'm not messing with them. Anyway, I have some stories that I'm not going to tell you on the podcast about it. Anyway, so my next one is, I got to bring it back. I'm just going to bring it back abruptly. So we were talking about the savanna, and one of the greatest things, we already mentioned it a little bit, but that you can do at Animal Kingdom Lodge is get a savanna view room. It's one of the coolest things that you can do. I've stayed in a savanna view room twice in the last couple of years at Animal Kingdom Lodge. There's nothing cooler, seriously, than getting up in the morning, literally I roll out of bed, I go get my coffee, and I go right to the balcony, put my feet up, and just watch the animals go by while I have my coffee. It is the coolest thing. Just, like I said, there's giraffes and there's zebras and those giant, I don't know what they're called, like cattle with the horns that are enormous. And, it's just an amazing thing to sit out there. And you have as long as you want. Like, you don't have to rush. It's not like when you're on Kilimanjaro Safari and, you see the zebra or the giraffe, but you have your driver driving past them and you get a very kind of limited amount of time to see them or take pictures or check them out. No, you can sit there as long as you want. You just sit up there on your balcony. It's an amazing kind of experience. It's endless viewing from your room. It's awesome. One time, our first time staying there, my wife, Amy, and I, we had Alexa, our oldest, was, 1.5. And we had just, for some reason, we had a 2-bedroom villa. We were rolling in it back then. The early days of Ear to There travel, when the money first started rolling in. Yeah, right. But we had a 2-bedroom. We actually were staying with her dad and his girlfriend, and they had left. So we had a room to ourselves for a couple of days, one of the 2 bedrooms. So we left. We put our daughter in the second room. She slept in there. And we slept in the other bedroom. So in the middle of the night, I got up to get a glass of water. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I heard something outside. Like, we had the screen with the door open. It was like, the middle of the winter, and we had the door open with the screen door shut to let some air in, so we didn't have to use the air conditioner. So I heard something moving outside the window, and I was like, oh, I got to go check this out. So I went out, and I swear, man, like 30 feet from where I was, middle of the night, no lights on, there's 2 giraffes right there just eating from the tree. And it's pitch black, and it felt like it was me and the giraffes, and that was it. It was the coolest thing. Excuse me. And I woke up Amy, which never wake up a woman who's pregnant with twins at 3:00 in the morning, because she almost punched me in the mouth. But I woke her up, and I said, "You got to come out and see this giraffes." And she was like, I swear this is a reaction. "I saw the giraffes this morning." I was like, "No, they're out here right now. They're so cool. They're eating. You can almost touch them." She was like, "I need to go back to sleep." So I sat out there by myself watching the giraffes. But it's really, I've booked clients in these rooms, and I just actually had clients come home today who just got back from a trip. They did a land and sea. They were on the cruise first, and they did Animal Kingdom Lodge, Savannah View for a few days, and they got back to me today and were like, "We loved it, absolutely." Like, there's nothing like it in Walt Disney World as far as the hotel room goes. It's super unique. It's very, very cool. So yeah, I think you can't beat a Savannah View room. It's expensive, sure, and it's more expensive than the standard or the other rooms that you would get there, but it's worth it. It's very cool.
How many guests do you think roll up and get a Savannah View room, crack the door open through the night in the cooler times of the year to get the fresh air, and they wake up at 3 a.m. to hear that noise and go, "Hey, keep it down! I'm trying to sleep in here, chewing so loud. You chew with your mouth closed?"
That's what Amy would have done if it had woken her up and not me. She'd be yelling at the giraffes. But dude, it's so cool. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like a huge. I know I'm a huge nerd, but maybe it's just something about just me. It was like pitch black, and I'm out there on the balcony, just me and the giraffes. And, they can't come over to you. It's not like you can feed them, but it's just this really cool, but just a unique experience. And I loved it.
Yeah. I never had a 3 a.m. wake up call from a giraffe. But
no, who has?
Yeah. But you got to think that in the pantheon of things that could wake up at 3 a.m., that would get a pass.
Yeah. Like, I think I'm okay with that.
Can't be mad at that. That's
like,
not like
if I had woken up and there was a lion running around out there, that might have freaked me out a little bit more.
Or a thin man.
Wait, is that thing that kids see? Like, there's all the YouTube videos about him and all that stuff.
I don't know. He's real.
All right. With Halloween just being over, now you're scaring me. So you should go on to your next one and not talk about the Thin Man anymore. It's going to freak me out. I need to sleep tonight.
There we go. All right. So, I mentioned the art being something that you don't hear a lot of talk about in terms of the guests, making that being like one of the hallmark things that they enjoyed about the resort. Nor do you really hear Disney talk a lot about it. I'm sure it has been discussed. I don't remember when or where I've heard them discuss the art. But one thing that I have heard that has gotten a fair amount of publicity, or at least in terms of Disney making this something that is an important part of the hotel, is the fact that the cast members there, so the lobby greeters or the Savannah guides or restaurant greeters or other cast members on site there on the property, are called cultural representatives, and they are representing various countries from Africa. And the thing I really enjoy about interacting with these cast members is they actually have a lot of fun sharing stories and information about their home countries. And they're great with kids. If I roll it there with my kids, they love talking to kids about the things that they enjoyed there in their country, and how the animals that you're seeing in the savannah, that they remember seeing them in the wild in their country, and what that was like. And it's really, I think it's probably one of the coolest gigs to have. Like, can you imagine if you got hired by a vacation destination somewhere in a different country, and they said, "Hey, we want you to be, we have this resort hotel that we're modeling after Philadelphia. Phil, come on over and just be a culture representative. Tell them about your favorite neighborhoods, your favorite spots to eat, what it's like to grow up there." Like, that'd be pretty cool to talk about where you're from, and to see guests really enjoy hearing your stories and really wanting to know more about it. And I think honestly, it looks like they love doing what they're doing. And anytime you have a chance, at least in my opinion, anytime you have a chance to interact with someone who's really passionate about what they're doing or really loving what they're doing in terms of their work, that's really cool to see and be a part of. And I think that's neat for the kids, especially because if you're thinking about taking your family to go experience Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge and you're seeing everything and through their eyes, it might be kind of a sanitized version or kind of a, an imaginary or fantasy version of Africa and what life is like there and the culture. But then when you take them on any type of experience where they're getting a chance to interact with these cultural representatives in a way that, gives them a chance to, talk to them, hear some stories and get their input on certain things, then it becomes real because now you're seeing a real life person in front of you who is telling a story about these animals. And I don't know. I never had the opportunity to be here as a child and be at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge as a child, so I don't know. But I at least watch through my kids' eyes and see that, they're seeing these animals out there on the savannah, and then you have somebody standing there telling you, yeah, I remember when I was living in the country, this is where we'd go see them. And you see them then think of this in a much different perspective because it's not like this, like a zoo. This is more real to them. It's a real thing that's out there. And that's neat to have that dimension that really, again, kind of enhances the experience that Disney's created for the resort in terms of making it something that is, rich in story, but also has this dimension to the experience that really makes it real for everybody.
Dude, I love that pick. It wasn't on my list. I was thinking about putting it on there because you're right on. It's a lot like Epcot, where a lot, in World Showcase, where the cast members are all from the host countries, and your kids can go up to them and talk to them and ask them questions, and they get a chance to learn so much about, these cast members and where they're from and what it's like, and just like you said, it's a really, really cool thing, especially for kids. And I was thinking about putting this on my list because when I was on my college program, almost, was it 19 years ago? Holy cow, it's a long time ago. We're getting old.
Oh, boy.
But my kids it's funny, my kids are keeping me young and aging me at the same time. The way it used to work back in the day was, we were in line. I was in line with a bunch of guys. We didn't know each other. And they were like, okay, next 5 guys. And then we walk up and they're like, your roommates, you're in this apartment. This is how it went. So just by luck, I got two of those guys are two of my closest friends to this day. But we didn't know that they sent us to an apartment at Vista Way. And there was already someone living in it. He was there on a year, internship, I guess. And his roommates had all just moved out, and we had just moved in. And he was actually from Kenya. His name was Dayan. It was Dayan. But we were all ignorant 19, 20-year-olds, so we all called him Dan. Because I don't know, we were just ignorant to the poor guy. And I wish I could take some of that stuff back. we were kind of, kids. But anyway, we moved in and he worked at Animal Kingdom. He was one of the original opening team at Animal Kingdom cast members. He was from Mombasa, Kenya. And he and I used to talk a lot. And his English was really, really good. I can remember one day, he and I sitting on a couch. The World Cup was on. It was 1998. So the World Cup was on in soccer. We were watching a lot of World Cup. And he was super into it. He was super into the World Cup. And the game ended, and I'm sorry, this is a long story, but I flipped over to a baseball game. And I don't know if you ever tried to explain baseball to somebody who grew up in Africa, but that's a difficult thing to do.
I did it today, actually.
It's hard. He sits there and he goes, Phil. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, explain. And I'm like, I don't know where to start. So I tried to explain to him, why the pitcher was trying to throw the ball past the guy and why they ran to the bases and what was going on. And I think he half got it by the end of the conversation. We sat for like an hour talking about it, and he was really invested, man. He sat and watched and was asking a lot of questions, but I didn't catch him watching another baseball game the rest of the summer, so I don't think he was too into my explanation of the game. But it was just cool to have that experience at that age, that young. I was 19 years old talking to this guy from, it might as well have been from Mars at that point for me. I didn't know anything about, Africa. I was just clueless and I was ignorant. And what's really funny is he, I assume grew up in a very, urban kind of situation. He didn't grow up in, obviously he had the chance to come to Walt Disney World and work, and he had a job in his country, but he couldn't get the refrigeration, he couldn't get the freezer. He couldn't figure it out. And so one time I opened the freezer, like I lived on like ramen noodles and like frozen dinners and like Kool-Aid for the whole summer. And I opened the freezer to get I think I got freeze pop out as I was 19, I was still eating freeze pops. So what? So I opened it up and I'm kidding. I'm not kidding even a little bit. There's one of our pans, like, a pot and pan. It's a pan in the freezer with shrimp, rice, and like spices and like onions and all in it. But he didn't cover it or anything. He just put the whole pan in the freezer after he cooked. And then I guess he planned on taking it out and reheating it on the stove later on. So I just left it in there. I don't know if he ate it eventually and got sick. But anyway, that was my experience with a cultural representative back then. That's my story.
Did he at least have like a fork and knife in it too, so it's truly ready-made and ready to go?
No, he didn't. No, it was just a pan with the other shrimp and the rice and all kinds of stuff. It was a
couple of napkins on the side.
It was a pretty bizarre thing, but it was cool. We learned a lot. And I remember asking him one time, again, super ignorant 19-year-old. I said, in my neighborhood where I'm from, at night, we get a lot of possums and raccoons and stuff in our trash in my yard. I'm like, do you guys get like animals? Like, what kind of animals do you get in your trash? And he couldn't understand it. I think I was waiting for him to say like lions, but he didn't. He didn't understand what the heck I was talking about. But yeah, that was another very ignorant question I asked him. This poor guy probably moved back to Kenya and was like, Americans are ridiculous. Like they're so dumb.
They watch the most boring sports. Soccer fans call them baseball boring. That's
a good point. Yeah. Listen,
that's an insult to America.
I sat through a whole season of first grade girls soccer this past year for my daughter. And listen, I love my kids more than anything on the planet, anyone on the planet. But you watch girls first grade soccer, man. They're running around trying to catch butterflies. They're picking up flowers off the floor, off the ground. Not a whole lot of them paying attention to the game, to be honest with you.
Man, anyway. My daughter, when she was playing soccer in that age, she had the team, and they all got their jerseys one day, and they were this really cool gold color. And the coach said, "What do you guys want to name the team?" And there's all the girls are going, "Oh, the golden butterflies, or the yellow rainbows, or whatever their names were." And I leaned over to my daughter and I said, "Hey, give them this as an idea. How about the Golden Girls?" And she's like, "Okay, whatever. How about the Golden Girls?" And then the coach laughed. Was like, "Ha ha, okay." And then I was like, "Wait, you never seen the show? What do you got to get Blanche? You're not a Blanche fan? Come on.
You got to watch that around Chuck. Chuck Rodriguez's favorite show ever is The Golden Girls.
Really?
Yeah, it's his favorite TV show ever. He loves it. Yeah.
Oh, how about that?
I know. It's a strange thing. Like, whose favorite show is The Golden Girls? But it's his.
I pegged him more of a Sanford and Son kind of guy.
Not a Sanford and Son guy. Anyway, all right. Well, I got this whole thing crazy off track here.
I know, man. Talking about Aunt Esther and Sanford and Son. I mean, jive turkeys.
I'm coming, Elizabeth.
It's the big one.
All right, man. I think it's your turn.
Yeah, I didn't get a good segue on this one, but it's good anyway. This is a good one. So
No, you do. Come on, you go from Fred Sanford to anything. You don't need a segue.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm sure there's probably, if we dug deep enough, we could find something in one of those episodes about that Fred Sanford came up with. But the last one I thought of was the fact that they have a lot of animal programs and wildlife. I don't know, with the lack of a better term, wildlife discovery experiences that they have at the resort that are unique to the resort. And of course, Animal Kingdom, Disney's Animal Kingdom, the theme park, has a lot of that in terms of what you can do with your family and your friends to go and explore and have hands-on experiences with animals or environmental issues, and even just the fact that you're there seeing something as well can be something that's very very impactful in terms of what you're experiencing, and can spark your interest in learning more, or really kind of open your eyes to things you never thought of or heard of before. So that's really neat. But there's also some unique ones that are only to Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge. So I know they have, there's, you got to check the boards, and I wish I would have done at least some homework before so I can give some more examples. But I know they have some hands-on experiences where you can learn about feeding strategies. They have a tour there, I think it's called Sense of Africa, and don't quote me in any of this. It's a 3-hour tour, not like the one with Gilligan and the Skipper, which they should somehow integrate that. I don't know if they could clear it, but
why did they bring all the clothes if it was a 3-hour tour? I don't get it. Ginger never wore the same thing twice. Didn't make any sense.
I was in Hawaii 20 years ago. And wait, not that long. This was like 2000. I was there, and I was at this restaurant and bar, and there was this guy dancing and having a good time with live music, and he looked exactly like the Skipper from the show, like an older version.
Alan Hale, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't do my homework. Of course, he had the hat.
Didn't expect the Skipper to show up on the podcast, to be honest with you.
I didn't either. That's how it goes. But he had the hat, he had the clothes. I thought it was him. I was like, oh my gosh, that's the Skipper. So I walked up to him, hey man, you're rocking LA here. Let's party. And we were, I hung out with him for a bit, and I was like, man, I got to hang with the Skipper in Hawaii. That's awesome. I'm rad. This is a really cool thing. And I got home, did a little digging. Turned out he's dead. This is a look-alike. That sucked. I was in the moment, I was like, I'm the man. I'm partying with the Skipper in Hawaii. Man, you know how awesome that is?
Then the Globetrotters came in.
They were spinning conch shells on their fingers. Yeah, no, so yeah, it wasn't the Skipper. But yeah, so this 3-hour tour, I think it's breakfast at Boma is how you start, and then they have the private safari vehicle that they kind of take you around on the savannah, and they talk about how they care for the animals. They give you an up close view of some of the animals on the savannah that you're kind of like what you would do with the Kilimanjaro safari. You're out there really close up to the animals. They have one in the afternoon as well. I am blanking on the name of that one. It's one that it's not a common name. At least I don't remember it being common. It's Waniyama or Wani.
Yeah, you're close. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm blown away at my brilliance and my memory because I can't remember anything.
Yeah, I forget the name of it too. But you're close. It begins with a W. There's a Y in there. Yeah, I don't know the exact name of it, but it's their afternoon, because they used to do the sunrise safari there, and now they do the evening one, whatever. But you're right.
Yeah, the Waikiki safari.
That's exactly
partying with the Skipper. Yeah, so then it's kind of the same idea, learning how to care for the animals. But I think they do the dinner at Jico. After that, at least that's the last time I was down there. That's what they were doing. So there's a lot of unique experiences that you can't find at Disney's Animal Kingdom and the theme park that you can at the lodge. That for some reason, I don't know why that this doesn't become more discussed, because maybe it's definitely something you hear as a resort guest, but you don't hear as much about it if you're not a resort guest. So maybe this could be something that can hopefully push someone over the edge if they're kind of teetering on the line and thinking, well, do I want to pull the trigger and go for a stay next time at Animal Kingdom Lodge? Like that right there, above all, I mean, with everything else we've talked about, that right there is definitely one of the key things that I think would make it a really fun experience for friends and for family to be a part of, just to see all those little hands-on experiences that they have there at the resort.
And it's one of the only resorts that has stuff like that. Like, I guess because of the animals and, like you said, because of the cultural, the kind of representation that it has, there's so much that you can do, and it offers. There's so many different offerings at this resort. Like that, as you said, these are the kinds of things that you get at the parks, but it's actually, you don't have to pay a park admission for it. You do it at your resort. It's really, really cool, the stuff that they offer. And a lot of parks, a lot of the resorts have tours that you can take. Like I know Wilderness Lodge has one for free, but what you're talking about is a little bit different. There's lots of cool stuff that you can do there. And again, it might not be stuff that you do on your one trip where, you know what though? Let me kind of rephrase that. If you're going and you're going to do, you're going to sleep and shower at your resort, I'm not trying to talk you out of this place, but this isn't the hotel for you. It's not the resort for you. If you're going to stay, you're going to enjoy the resort. This is, you want to be able to go and experience everything that it has to offer, because and again, I'm not. It sounds like I'm trying to talk you out of a more expensive, more fun resort, but I don't want people to. I definitely wouldn't try to talk someone into Animal Kingdom Lodge if they were just going, and commandoing it the entire time and not being in the resort. It's just one of those that you have to go. You really have to take your time and enjoy yourself and see all the stuff that the resort has to offer. Because, like I said, we've been talking for an hour, and I can list another 10 things right now that we didn't even bring up yet.
Is that, by the way, a commonly used phrase, going commando at Disney? Because if it is, I think we need to set the record straight.
Did I say going commando? I shouldn't say it like that. That's not how I meant it.
We should figure out a new one. We need
the commando trip, not going commando. If you know what going commando is, if you're a guy like Johnny and I are, and you know what going commando means, that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah, like Urban Dictionary stuff.
Yeah, I'm talking about the commando trip where you are nonstop hitting, every attraction, every show, getting up at 6 a.m. to make sure you hit your extra magic hours and closing the parks down at night. That's what I'm referring to. It's a little different than what you were thinking of.
Slightly.
Which would be a very uncomfortable way to see Disney, by the way, with the humidity and everything else. Wouldn't be a smart move. You need a lot of butt shield for that trip.
You said it, I didn't.
So you said that was your last one?
That was the last one I kind of mentally jotted down there.
So I have a couple more that I just kind of mention. One thing that we didn't really talk about are the restaurants, and
they have those there.
I think that I was waiting for you to mention them, and you may have been waiting for me to mention them.
Yeah, I thought for sure you were going to say something, so I kind of steered clear of them.
It's really funny. It's really funny because I wasn't. I really thought you were going to mention them, so I didn't even put them on my list. So, like you mentioned, Jico. You mentioned, did you say Sanaa?
I mentioned Boma. I didn't mention
Boma.
Sanaa. Yeah.
And Sanaa is, of course, famous for their bread service, which is that is the reason people go to that restaurant. Is it naan bread? Is that how you say it? I always forget how to say that word. It's Naan bread. And you go and they give you this awesome bread with all these different kinds of sauces that you can put on it. It's why people wait. It's why people get up at 7 a.m., 180 days out to book that restaurant because of that bread service. It's amazing. And you said Jico, and there's Boma, and there's the Mara, I don't know how you say it, Mara, where you and I ate dinner after we did Pandora a few months ago, and we got burgers there. And I have to say, man, I was shocked with how good my burger was.
Burgers and fat tires.
Yeah, dude, it was come on, how great is that?
Yeah, I can't beat that, man.
Yeah, I remember sitting down and we got it. That was all free from Disney too, because they gave me a gift card to eat, which was really nice. So you and I were just sitting there having our beer and our burger, and it was awesome. all talking about Pandora and how great it was. So
And beer in a can too. Like I know it's hard to feel more like a man until you drink a beer out of a can.
it's true. It's like you just mowed your lawn or something.
Sounds like a Hank Williams Jr. line.
All your rowdy friends are coming over and drinking beers out of cans. But yeah. I the food there is phenomenal. It's African inspired or African fusion kind of food, but it's not scary stuff. It's all, very on the kind of mild side. Like you think African food, you think, scary, but it's not at all. And the restaurants are different. They're really, really good. Again, those restaurants fill up early as far as dining reservations go. But if you don't want to, I'm just throwing everything into one last thing here. If you don't want to wait or go to one of the restaurants there, again, the Mara, however you say it, is the counter service location there. The other places that we mentioned are table service. But then there is the Victoria Falls Lounge. I don't know. Have you ever been down there?
I've been down there. I've never actually stopped in for a drink or anything off the menu.
Yeah, so it's kind of hidden out of the way, right? Like,
yeah,
when you go into the lobby at Jumbo House, stay to your right. I'm not going to be able to edit these calls out. I'm just going to have to let it go. We're going to have to roll with it. I'm going to have my little bit of water and just kind of roll with it. Anyway, so there's a set of stairs there on your right-hand side of the lobby, and you walk down the steps, and it takes you to the Victoria Falls Lounge. And when I was there by myself, I really liked it because I would get back at night, and I hadn't eaten dinner because I was in training all day, and then I went to the parks. So they have a pretty good-sized menu for a lounge there at Victoria Falls. There's a burger, there are wings, there's like a flatbread there, there's like a meat and cheese tray. There's all kinds of stuff that you can get, and you can sit at the bar, or they have little like coffee table size tables all around with big comfy chairs you can sit in, and they have TVs behind the bar, so they always have sports on. So if you're like me and you're there by yourself, sometimes you go and sit and have a beer, watch, have your dinner, get your burger and fries, watch whatever game is on. I remember last year when I was there, I was watching the NHL playoffs, talking to the bartenders who were super nice. I've also been there with Amy. So she got I was going to say girly drink. I'll say it, girly drink. It was the Victoria Falls Mist, I believe. I have no idea what's in it, but it was like light and it was made with Sprite. It didn't seem very strong to me. They have a couple of African beers on tap there too. So if you want to try like the African like Tusker beer, I think it's from Kenya actually. I think that's where it's from. But yeah, you can do that, and it's really cool. And it flies under the radar a lot compared to the other restaurants I think at that resort. So the food all over the resort's good, but it's nice to go in there and sit and, like I said, have a beer, get a burger, get some wings, relax at the end of your day. It's a really nice place to go. So that was kind of all my last ones, all the food and all that rolled into one.
And it seems like from an atmosphere perspective, if you said, like, let's take a poll of all the resort hotels at Walt Disney World that have lounges, like, where would that fall? I'd say like top 3 in terms of atmosphere. Yeah, because it's really cool in there, and it's very subdued too. Like, there's some lounges that you go to, like, for example, like one of my favorites, but it's the River Roots Lounge at Port Orleans Riverside. If you're not ready for a loud piano show, you're not going to go in and have a quiet drink. Like, this is a place where you can go have a quiet drink, hear yourself talk. Well, not yourself. The person next to you talk. Have a conversation, talk to the bartenders. It's a nice, and like you said, the atmosphere is really cool. If you're there during the day, you can look out the big windows and see the animals. At night, you really can't, but it's still really, really neat. And after you have a couple of drinks, you can go outside and find one of the cast members who will give you night vision goggles
that you can look out onto the savannah with and see the animals. That's also kind of cool too. I don't know if you've ever done that with your kids, but my kids love doing that.
I've never done that. I didn't know that they did that, and I'm really interested in going and trying that.
Yeah, so they have, when you, at both lobbies, when you walk down the steps and there's like that, almost like the boardwalk that walks out towards the savannah, where they have like fire pits and stuff. If you talk to those cast members out there, they have a select number of night vision goggles that you can put on, because the savannah isn't lit up at night. It's very dark. You can see the animals to really close, but if they're far away, you can't see them because it's so dark. But with the night vision goggles, you can see them from anywhere. So it's very like Step Brothers-ish, the scene when they wear the night vision goggles. When he's like, it's been awesome if we had these when we're kids. And he's like, even better, we have them when we're 40. It's like that. You can see animals, though. It's really cool.
You go look at the trash can, see if there's any mice running around.
Sorry, I had to mute because I was coughing again.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. It's terrible. Yeah, you can see the mice or the trash pandas or what else do you say? The chupacabras and the Sasquatch, or what do you call them? Swamp apes?
Swamp apes. Yeah, gotta get it right, man.
Trash panda is one of my favorite little known animals that I get those around here. But anyway, I think we did a good job of making people want to stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge. I love the resort, man. I think it's such a nice place. We didn't really go into detail at all about how nice the rooms are, and it's just all the little touches, like the Lion King touches throughout the resort. Like on your bed, there's like the Simba like carving on it's just little tiny touches like that make it really, really neat. So yeah, I love that resort. I think you're right. I think it doesn't get talked about a lot because of where it's situated. But it's a great resort. I hope people listen and are like, yeah, I want to give it a shot.
I hope that's what happened, and they thought, let's give it a shot, as opposed to, that Super 8 on 192 sounded pretty interesting. Check that one out.
Swamp apes, chupacabras. What else did we say is over there? Yeah, I don't even know what. The Thin Man? Is that what you said? The Thin Man?
Maybe. I don't know.
Tin Man or Thin Man? Because if it was a Tin Man, it wouldn't be as scary.
Wouldn't be as scary. It'd be a little more mythical.
If you walk outside and he's like, when a man's an empty kettle, he should be on his metal. I don't know. That's the only line from the Tin Man.
Impressed he pulled that off without any prep.
Yeah, my kids are big Wizard of Oz fans. They've watched, Jack especially has watched that movie like 400 times. By the way, really quickly, and like I do anything quickly, right? But I read on the internet super like recently that in the 70s, there was an episode of Sesame Street that was done. Now I forget her name, Margaret something, who played the Wicked Witch in the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, Margaret Cho.
Yes, it was Margaret Cho. Yeah, it would have been very different if it was Margaret Cho. She would have the Wicked Witch would have it would be a completely different movie.
And she had a potty mouth.
Yeah, she did. She was I've never seen her live, Margaret Cho, but I've seen her on HBO and stuff. And yeah, she's kind of a dirty comic.
Very blue.
But the witch from Wizard of Oz did an episode. Get this, okay? Tell me this would terrify you. Now, this is, I think, before our time. I don't think we were even born yet, let alone watching Sesame Street. But there was an episode that they made of Sesame Street of the same lady who played the Wicked Witch in Wizard of Oz, played the Wicked Witch on an episode of Sesame Street. She was flying over Sesame Street and she lost her broom. And Oscar and Big Bird had to help her find her broom on the episode of Sesame Street. And it terrified kids. Terrified them. And they only played the episode once. They got so many complaints that they pulled it and never showed it again.
Oh my goodness.
Could you imagine like our kids now watching an episode of Sesame Street and the Wicked Witch of the West is on it? Seriously.
Oh, it'd be terrible. But it reminded me of a funny story. Years ago, when my niece was younger, I brought her to work at the place I was working at the time. She was about 5. And I was just kind of showing her around where I worked at the time and introducing everybody. And we come up to this one lady who was one of my managers at the time. And she looks up to me and goes, Uncle Johnny, is that the lady that you said rides the broom to work? I was like, don't say that. What? Keep quiet.
Nice.
Oh, it was terrible.
And then you had to pack up your desk that day.
I had to backpedal a lot from that one.
Oh, man.
That I like to think that I can smooth things over. I don't know that I really smoothed that one over.
And you never spoke to that lady again.
Yeah. We didn't leave on good terms.
That's rough, man. That's really rough. All right, man. Well, thank you again for being on the episode, and thank you for dealing with all my cough medicine induced tangents.
No, right, man. I appreciate it. This is a lot of fun, and it sparked some interest, me getting back over there and just checking some stuff out again. It's been a while.
You got to go get your night vision goggles now and go
Dude,
check that out.
No, man, that sounds awesome. Right?
Come on,
there.
when do you get to use night vision goggles? That's awesome. I'm not in the military. I'm never going to get a chance to use those other than the Animal Kingdom.
I take them when I take the dog out for a walk. I mean, that's because I know what I'm picking up. You know,
got to watch out for the chupacabras and the swamp apes out there in your neighborhood.
Yeah, I was letting my neighbors know what's going on. I say that's a crazy idiot with the night vision goggles to pick up dog poop.
All right, man. Well, like I always do, I want to give you a chance to promote anything that you want to promote at the end of the episode. I don't. These aren't rehearsed. I don't know what you're going to promote, so feel free to talk about anything you want there.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It's always, I don't have anything to plug for myself. I'm just a one-man band rolling through town, but I do have some friends over at this little organization in town here that they're doing a lot of great work. And, I appreciate, you got a pretty amazing platform that you're building. So thanks for giving me a second to just kind of help them out a little bit.
Sure.
It's a little organization called the National Moped Association.
Right.
501c3, great people. All donations are tax deductible. Tell you what's going on right now with these guys. They could use some help now. Coming up on the holidays right now, we're doing a lot of fundraising for different organizations. There's always needs that especially in the Orlando area, a lot of cool stuff that's going on. But with these guys, what they're doing is really something special, because what we're noticing now is a big issue with respect to leather jackets. Because when you're riding on a moped, you need to have proper safety gear. And I see so many people out there right now just t-shirt and shorts. And leather jackets are becoming a thing now. We're seeing more card carrying members wearing, which is great. But that's only half the equation. You need the leather pants as well, because you're going to get burned on those exhaust pipes. People don't realize you can get a second-degree burn in a blink of an eye on one of those tailpipes on that thing, because your leg's right there. When I used to ride a moped, I used to singe the leg hairs off me every time. I always had the little streak right there on the side of the right leg when I had that single lunger pipe coming out. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get awareness out there. We're not asking for money. We're just asking for help and awareness and getting the word out. So we're doing a much better job. Helmets, I'm seeing helmets now. I'm seeing leather jackets, but we need to get the leather pants out there too, because it's a safety thing. And that's what we're all about for the card carry members. So thanks for giving me 30 seconds to get the word out.
You got it, man. Yeah. So, all right, I don't mean to laugh. I was laughing at something I saw online. I was flipping through, my Facebook feed, and I just saw something funny. So that's not.
Mention that Facebook thing. What the heck is that? We got to talk about that offline.
All right, man. Well, thanks again. Yeah, we'll have to do this again soon. Hopefully, I'm not going to be coughing and sneezing through the entire thing. So thanks again for coming on, and I'll talk to you soon.
Right on.
And that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Ear to There podcast. Thank you once again so much to my guest, the one and only Mr. Johnny Shortsleeve. I couldn't do a resort roundup without him. It's always a lot of fun, always a lot of laughs. So thank you again for him for coming on this episode. And thank you for listening. As always, you are phenomenal. You're fantastic. I really, really appreciate you. I appreciate the time that you take to listen to the show. It really means an awful lot to me. I mean, look, you could be doing anything with your time right now. You could be learning how to speak Mandarin Chinese. You could be figuring out how mopeds work. You could be writing that novel that you always wanted to write, but instead you're here, you're listening to me. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you and your time. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you're enjoying the shows. And if you are, please do me a favor. If you haven't done so already, head over to eartotheretravel.com/iTunes. There, I've left a tutorial to teach you how to subscribe to the show. So each and every week, the shows will be automatically downloaded into whatever your listening device is. Also, it shows you how to subscribe. No, I already said that. Also, it's the cold, people. Also, it shows you how to rate and review the show as well. So if you can do that, I'd be super appreciative. And thank you so much in advance for that. And if you've already done it, you're off the hook. You don't have to do it again. Thank you in advance for doing that. Or not in advance because you've already done it. Now I'm confused. It's like the space-time continuum and Back to the Future. I have no idea where you are, where I am in the timeline. Okay, I'm just confusing myself. Anyway, thank you again for listening. Remember, there will be a new episode of the Ear to There podcast each and every Monday morning, as well as a new episode of the Ear to There podcast, Walt Disney World Word of the Week. Those will be each and every Wednesday morning. Also look out for the return, yes, of Running for Sandwiches. Those episodes will be each and every Tuesday morning. I had some health issues. I was out for a while. I wasn't able to record, wasn't able to run, but I'm back from outer space. Anyway, thank you again so much for listening to the show. Have a phenomenal week. Until next time, bye-bye.